welcome to Tori Talks TV, and welcome to our final review of Game of Thrones. That's because this is it. This is the last episode that we can review. It's Season 8, Episode 6, the finale called The Iron Throne. Are you ready to talk about
chills.
this?
We made it.
We did it, everybody.
Well,
thanks for being there with us.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're going to say. So let's start with the very first scene. This is the aftermath. The burning down of King's Landing. Mm-hmm. So there's Tyrion walking through the destruction, witnessing all of the everything that has happened. There are burned bodies, dead children. It's like a war zone.
I felt so bad for all the people, but then for him, that's like his home.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I didn't even think of that.
There.
Oh, that's right. It was just like the destruction was even worse than I remember it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because the ashes have kind of settled.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing like every person.
You really see the aftermath.
Crispy.
Yeah. Crispy. Yeah. And then, of course there's Jon. He's walking around too like, what just happened? And then they come across Grey Worm with some of the King's Landing guards, and he's like about to execute them.
Yeah.
So naturally, Jon's like, no, wait. And Davos is trying to stop Grey Worm.
They're like, they've surrendered. Like, what are you doing?
Like, we're cool. It's good now. Yeah. And Jon and Grey Worm have like a staring contest, and he's trying to stop him, and then he's like, okay, I guess
Davos is like, we can't do this now. Because basically, I think Davos thinks that Grey Worm and Jon are about to like kill each other.
It seemed like it. It was a little tense.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's like, fine. I mean, he just has to let him do it. So then Grey Worm starts executing them. So I know. So then Tyrion is still walking through, just trying to. He just seems so lost. It's so sad. But so he just seems so defeated, and then he's walking through the ruins, and then he goes below the Red Keep, probably because he's thinking of like that escape plan that he had.
I think he wanted to go see if it was possible that they
made it out.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he finds that there's like rubble and rocks and stone and everything is there, and then he happens upon a golden hand. Aww. And he just knows, and you see his face just drop, and that was so sad. And then he goes over there and he starts like taking like the bricks off one by one, and then reveals his brother and sister dead together.
The shot of the three of them, like the three siblings,
that was
well done.
It was well done.
You got me, Game of Thrones.
Oh, and he started crying. It was so sad. And I feel like at that point he was like, okay, that is the last straw.
Yeah.
I'm mad. I'm upset. I mean, he already was, but still. So then it's time for Daenerys to make her first speech as queen. There I am. And she's thanking the Dothraki and the Unsullied. And she's like, we did it, guys. Feeling real good about life. And there's Jon and Grey Worm by her side. And Grey Worm's very proud. And Jon is concerned. And so it seems so awkward. It must have felt so awkward.
Well, I was waiting for this moment. Like, how is she gonna, like, what is she gonna say about her methods? Like, about what she did?
Yeah.
And nothing.
No, just like, we did it, guys. Thanks so much for helping me on this journey.
Good job.
I'd like to thank the Academy. Just making her little speech.
Yeah.
And then she ends up naming Grey Worm Queen's Master of War.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
She got left.
Yeah. That's all she has. So then Tyrion shows up, and he's like, you know what? You took this too far. I quit.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm done being your hand. Yeah, I'm over it. That was it. And then she's like, well, you freed your brother. Like, you betrayed me. And he's like, yeah, well, you slaughtered a whole city. Oh, touche.
Take that.
Touche. Yeah, it's true. So then she's mad about it, clearly, so she demands Grey Worm to take him.
I thought she was going to kill him right then and
I thought she was going to push him down the stairs. Did you kind of think that? I was like, that would have been a way to take him out.
I was not sure, but I thought he was a goner.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was it. So then he's obviously now their prisoner, so Jon goes to visit him, and of course Tyrion asks, did you bring any wine?
I love that because it was like throwback to old school Tyrion.
It was nice to see him. I miss him so much. It's been so long.
So he's like coming back.
Yeah, thank goodness. And so, Jon is basically saying, like, I can't justify what happened with Dany, and I'm not going to try to, but the war is over now. And then Tyrion's like, you really think the war is over? Did you not, like, understand what she was saying? Well, maybe he didn't. She said it in another language. but still.
Oh, true.
You know?
But there was definitely hostility in her voice.
Yeah.
She wasn't like, okay, now we're gonna... She was like, we're gonna go to Winterfell. Like, I remember when she said Winterfell, I was like, what are you gonna do in Winterfell?
Oh, I know.
She's gonna keep she's gonna liberate people. I was like, this is how you liberate people?
I know. I was like, wait, do you mean like how you liberated people in King's Landing?
Yes.
Like by killing them and starting fresh? I don't understand. I know.
It was everywhere. I was like, whoa.
Yes.
What's happening?
I was very confused too. So then Tyrion, you know, he's reminding Jon of all that Dany has done, and I felt like in it for a little bit, he was like, I don't really blame her for what she did, but he's like, hey, you know though, like this is her life, this is everything to her. She's not gonna let anybody get in the way. Hint, hint. Like not gonna let you either, like get in the way, you know, between her and the throne. Yeah. So. Then they go on and on about how love is more powerful than reason, and Tyrion's like, look at my brother. Good point. Yes. And then Jon says something, haven't heard in a while. He's like, love is the death of duty, which Tyrion... I just got chills again. I know, that's deep stuff. So powerful, and he tells Tyrion, he's like, well, Maester Aemon's the one that told me that a long time ago. Tyrion was like, did you make that up? And Jon's like, no. No, I can't take credit for that one. But then Tyrion coming back with another one, he's like, well, sometimes duty is the death of love. Whoa. What did you just say? Tyrion the Wise. He always does that. He does. So he's like, I feel like he's really like getting Jon to like think about it a little bit. Because, you know, Jon's still like, that's our queen. This is our queen. We have to do what she says. And he's like, listen to me, man. Like, she's out of control and she needs to be stopped. So... he's like, you know, you've tried to protect these people, and it's like, you know, she's like, who's the greatest threat to the people now? These people you're trying to protect. And, you know. We're like, is he gonna get it? I know, I'm like, get it through to your head! Tyrion, say it one more time. I know. And then he's like, we have to, he's kind of like, I'm sorry it has to end this way. He's like, ready to leave, he like knocks on the door to get the guard to take him out. And then he's like, you know your sisters aren't going to like this. And then he's like, yeah, well, you know what? They don't have a choice. He's like, you know what? They don't have a choice, but you do. Oh, yeah. And you need to choose now. Yes, I got goosebumps again. That was good. That was a tense. Thank goodness, that last moment. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Still, don't know what he's going to do. See. Don't know what's going on in his head. So now, Jon, we see him heading over to Dany. I can only assume. And then, like, it was kind of weird. All of a sudden, this, like, big snow pile comes to life. And it's Drogon. What were you doing under there, Drogon? That couldn't have been warm. Yes. But he kind of, like, comes out, and I think he was like, who are you? What are you doing here? And he's
who
like,
goes there? Who goes there?
Exactly. Oh, and then he's like, oh, it's just you. Oh
yeah,
we're good.
You may pass.
You can go.
Yes.
Yeah. So then we noticed Dany admiring the throne. She's like, I finally got here. This is what I've been dreaming of. And then, you know, Jon walks in and she's like, when I was a little girl, I imagined it like this, and I thought it would be bigger than this. And she's going on and on and on. And then Jon starts to give her a hard time about, you know, killing innocent people. And she's like, well, I tried to make peace. I mean, you know, I'm so perplexed. I don't know what to think. I mean, after all she's been through, I can see why she maybe snapped, but still... that's not what she stands for, and he's trying to... It was so hard for me to watch this.
He still wasn't... like, as he walked in, he was still, like... I think he was wanting her to say something that made him understand the decisions that she made, and the more she talked, the more he was like, oh...
It's like, you're so far gone. Oh. I don't even know what to do. But then he's like... I think he makes, like, this last-minute plea, like... He's like, what about Tyrion? And he's like... please just make this right. And you can see he's like getting emotional. He's like, please, Dany, like just like, do the right thing. Yeah, let him live. Let him, like, show mercy. And I mean, it was so sad because it was pleading so hard for this. And then, you know, she's like, well, you know, we can lead together. We can rule the 7 kingdoms together. And then, you know, they get close, and I'm like, well, that's a good idea. Maybe they could lead them together. I'm still really hopeful.
Maybe he'll balance her out or something.
Yes, exactly. You know? And then they start to kiss, and it's very romantic. And I'm like, oh.
And I was like, oh.
This is, like, is he seeing the waves? Or she's seeing the waves? Something's going on, and it's, like, so sweet. And then all of a sudden I hear this whoosh, and I was like, oh my gosh, did somebody just stab somebody? And at that point, did you know who got stabbed? No, I didn't know. No. I heard it. I knew something went down, but I didn't know. And then you see Dany look down, and he stabbed her. Yeah. Jon stabbed Dany. Wait, say it again. Jon Snow stab Daenerys. And she goes down. And she's bleeding.
Yeah.
And
out her nose.
He's holding her. And she dies in his arms, much like Ygritte died. His other great love died in his arms. Did you notice that?
Yes.
And I literally freaked out. Because I did think Dany was going to die this episode. Yes. I didn't think Jon was going to be the one to do it.
I thought it was a possibility, but I didn't think he could do it. I thought it was like, remember I was like, they're going to have a showdown.
Right.
But then I thought in the end he wouldn't be able to do it. And
he was upset. You could tell he was like, he didn't want to do it, but he knew he had to do it for the greater good of the people at this point. He did the right thing, y'all.
She was going to go burn everyone.
It was just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
It really was. It was spiraling out of control. So, beautiful Dany is dead. My gosh, I can't believe I'm saying it!
I know.
Dany's dead!
She's dead.
I just have to keep saying it to really realize that it's true. So then, her dragon, Drogon, comes up. Because he's like, and he's like, what?
Like, he sensed it.
And he, like, knew, and then he comes up and he sees, and he, like, looks at Jon. I'm like, what are you going to do to Jon? Yeah. What's happening? And he was like, he's, like, winding up a big fireball. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, is this how he's going to go? Is this how Jon's going to die? And then, no, he turns to the throne, and he's like...
But did he nudge her yet, though? He, like, nudged her. That was, like, that gave me, like, chills, too.
He was trying to wake her up.
Nudged her with his snout.
His mama.
Yeah.
That made me sad, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It was so well done.
No. And then when he knew she was dead, that's when he decided to breathe fire.
Dragon effects in this episode were spot on.
Good job,
when she addressed the crowd and her wings, the wings behind her, whoa.
That was a great shot.
I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he, instead of breathing fire on Jon, he breathes fire on the throne. And I think it's because he knows that it wasn't Jon that really killed her. It was the throne that killed her.
Oh,
it's like,
so
damn
poetic.
you, throne!
That was beautiful. I know.
And then
he's such a smart dragon.
I know. Oh my gosh. And then he picks her up and he flies away with her.
And his little talons.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Just taking his mama back to... Oh my god.
And you see how Jon was like all in the flames, but he doesn't burn because he's a Targaryen.
Oh, I didn't even realize, were the flames on him?
He was like, because anyone that close I think would have burned. But you know.
Hey, good call.
Pretty close.
Didn't even notice that. That's awesome. So yeah, that's the end of Daenerys. I cannot believe I'm saying that. So then I'm like, what's going to happen with Jon? I don't know. So then, like, it goes to black.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Tyrion, and it's like some amount of time later, I guess. I don't know.
Where are we?
What's happening?
When are we?
Yeah. So then, like, Grey Worm is, like leads him to a whole bunch of people. I'm like, who is that over there? There's a lot of people sitting around.
Under a canopy.
Yeah, I'm like, who are you guys? And then it's like everybody that I haven't seen in like seasons, like many seasons ago. I see Edmure and I see there's Sam is there.
Sam.
Sweet Sam. Robin Aaron. All I can think of is him,
Sweet Robin,
suckling his mother's. Okay, but he's like all grown up now. I mean, there's a lot. It was actually really cool to see that shot. Sansa's there. The Starks are all there. Arya. I mean, it was really cool.
The new Prince of Dorne.
The new Prince of Dorne.
I don't know who he is, but we know he's from Dorne from his costume.
Yes, exactly. It's basically just like the representatives from all the great houses.
Yes.
And it was really cool. Yes. So I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, what is happening?
What are you guys all doing there? And so they're like trying to decide what to do with Tyrion, but then also what are they going to do with Jon, right? So they're basically like, I don't know. Like they're like, well, we need a king or a queen to basically like say we need a ruler to decide what's going to happen with these people, but they don't have one. So how will they decide? How will they decide who the ruler is?
And so they're kind of like answering to Grey Worm, though, right? Because Grey Worm is the one who's demanding justice for his queen who was betrayed. Right. Because
Jon is in prison right now.
Yeah, Jon's in prison.
Yeah.
And Tyrion betrayed her.
Right.
So Grey Worm's like, what are you going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do for me?
Yeah, I don't want any gifts. I don't want. Don't try to butter me up. But what's happening? What are we gonna do about this? So they come to this decision that they're gonna just vote or they're just gonna choose somebody.
Yeah, because he's like, well, pick one. He's like, you need to pick. He's like, you need to pick a king.
Right.
Yes.
And so of course that was kind of funny. Edmure stands up and he's like, I really feel like I should do it because I'm very experienced. And then Sansa's like, Uncle, sit down.
I love that moment.
That was so funny.
So funny. I love that they were able to throw in some humor in this very serious episode.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of like funny things in Game of Thrones, but it's gotten so like serious
and
lately.
heavy.
Yeah, like we haven't seen a lot of like humor this
Yeah.
season at all. So
that was so
that was
funny.
nice.
She's like, you need to sit down and be quiet. So then there's Tyrion, and he's like, well, you know, I really think it should be someone who's, you know, has a really good story and has been through a lot. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, and in my mind, I was like, okay, so Sansa. Sansa's been through a lot.
Yeah.
She has a great story. Let's do Sansa. I was like, forget it, Arya. Just, I don't care. I mean, I didn't. Sam. I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, whatever. I'm right there with you, Tyrion. And then Tyrion's like, it should be someone with a good story, like Bran, the Broken.
Yeah. Well, okay. It's not just that he has a good story, but he is also the keeper of all the stories.
He survived a lot.
And he knows everything.
He became the Three-Eyed Raven, and he's the keeper of all our secrets. So he knows everything. He knows our history. He keeps us alive.
Yeah.
You know. Keeps our story alive.
Yes.
I just will say that I was honestly a little, like, shocked.
You're like, really? I know. I get it, too.
Not that I'm mad. Actually,
he wasn't even on our radar.
That's what it is. I was just like, wait, no, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, the last person I thought, maybe?
Right.
Not the last,
even though in Vegas, odds all were on Bran. Did you know that?
Were.
Mm-hmm.
You're joking.
No, I'm not kidding. But I was just like, it's like a joke.
How did we miss this?
I read
That's
it
crazy.
like weeks ago, but I
did not
thought it
know
was
that.
a joke. I thought people were just goofing off.
You know what's funny? The actor who plays Bran said that when he got the script, he thought it was a joke script. That's what I'm saying. It's so unbelievable. Even the actor himself didn't believe it.
But it kind of makes sense because, like, he doesn't want power. So what better person to rule and not be corrupted by power than somebody who doesn't want power?
I thought he couldn't have it because he's a Three-Eyed Raven. He's not even technically Bran anymore. I thought before he was like, I can never be a lord, but you can be a king? I don't know. Either way, Sansa's like, he doesn't want to be king, first of all, and he can't bear children.
Yeah.
And then Tyrion's like, yeah, well, good, because sons of kings are cruel and stupid. And
good point.
Yeah, it's you know, it's taking me a little bit to get there, but I'm like,
I was kind of sold on that point.
all right, I'm feeling this out. I'm feeling it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody else here is technically corrupted in some way. They've all been through a lot, but he's the one that's like, because you know how like cool he is, like he's just so like unfazed by things. You're right. You need someone with that temperament.
Yeah. To
maybe rule. I mean, it is a good point. And Tyrion points out that, like, yeah, this could be totally different. This could be the wheel that our queen wanted to break.
Yes.
And then again, I was like, I'm jumping on board. I'm not mad at this.
No.
So he's like, I don't think that rulers should be born. I think they should be chosen by lords and ladies. Okay.
I thought it was really funny when Sam was saying, you know who should vote? Everyone. Why just, like, the noble people? And everyone was like, ha!
Oh, my dog vote?
Poor Sam.
He was just
Let's
trying
not
to do
get carried away,
Oh
Sam.
my gosh, that
I
was
know.
so sad.
He's ahead of his time.
I know,
Sam.
sweet
I love you, Sam.
I know. I love him. I'm glad he was there. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Brienne was also there, too. There were so many awesome people there that I haven't seen in a while.
Yes.
So then Tyrion asks Bran, he's like, so, like, you up for the challenge? You think you could do this? And this is kind of cool. Bran's like, well, why do you think I came all this way? Wait a minute. Does that mean that you planned this? Or, like, you saw this vision? You knew this was going to happen? I don't know because they never told us, but it almost appears that way.
But I think not planned it, but maybe knew.
Knew, because you can see that, right? He sees all. So then they have to kind of, like, put it to a vote, basically. So they go around to everyone. And still at this point, I was like, they're not all going to say, yeah. But
some of those old guys are probably going to be like,
he's too young. He's too progressive. No, sure. So then they go one by one, and they're like, I. And I'm like, this is happening. Oh my gosh. Like, this actually might happen. I'm still thinking, because it's Game of Thrones, some crazy thing's going to happen. A fireball's going to come out of the sky and blow them all up. I still don't know at this point. So then they get to Sansa, and she's like, shouldn't say anything, shouldn't vote, but she's just like, she really wants the North to remain independent. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so cool.
I love that. Remember, she was like, what about the North?
Yes.
I'm
so proud of her.
I love that moment, too.
I'm so proud. So she doesn't really vote, but then they continue voting. So it at that point, it is now official, if you can believe this. So now they all say, all hail Bran the Broken. You guys, this is the person who won the Game of Thrones.
It's still crazy.
He won the Iron Throne.
The little boy who got pushed off of the tower. Such a little cutie pie. Now look at him. I
can't even believe it. Bran, the Three-Eyed Raven, whoever, Bran the Broken, He is the ruler of the 6 kingdoms, not 7, because the North is independent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still trying to absorb it. I can't believe this happened. But anyway, so now Bran tells Tyrion, he's like, well, I want you to be my hand. And he's like, no, I don't want to be your hand. He's like,
good.
I don't want to be your king. He's like, this is going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like, what better way to punish you? This will be your punishment for betraying the queen. So then, well, what's going to happen with Jon? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, what are they going to do with Jon? But then they decide he's going to go back to the Night's Watch. I didn't realize the Night's Watch was still there, like a thing.
Because there's no enemy to the north at the moment.
You don't have to watch the wall or be the watchers of the wall, right? I don't know, but so I'm like, okay, coming full circle here.
But Tyrion's like, well, they still need a place to send people, like bastards and
that's true.
Broken people.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's kind of like prison-ish.
Okay, I get that. Prison-ish. Yeah. So I don't really know how Jon's feeling about that, but you know, it's time for him to say goodbye. So then you're like, you know, what are all the Starks gonna do now? We already know Bran is the king, and then Arya. You know, they're like, what? Because I really was like, what is Arya gonna do? I thought she would stay and maybe serve him in King's Landing, but she's like, I'm gonna go west of Westeros, and they're like, there's nothing there. She's like, exactly. No. That's exactly why I want to go there. So she's gonna be like the Great Magellan, and she's gonna be an explorer. That's awesome.
I wonder if she's gonna make the maps.
Yes.
That's kind of what I imagined when they like threw down the maps. I was like, oh, she's gonna go explore, and
that's exactly what's gonna happen.
I love that. I mean, she'll have people help. Right.
And then, of course, we know Sansa's going to go rule the North. That's amazing. Yep. So Jon is, like, saying goodbye, which was so heartfelt. And he's like, he's like, Arya, you still have Needle, right? And, you know, so cute. And then Sansa's like, I'm sorry, this has to be this way. And he's like, the North has Ned Stark's daughter. Like, they're in good hands. He's saying his farewells. And he's just being as sweet as can be, as always. And then he, like, kneels to Bran. And then he apologizes for not being there for him. And he's like, you were exactly where you needed to be, where you were supposed to be. And then they say goodbye. Look at these Stark children.
The Stark children, I know.
And look, there's 4 of them remaining.
Yes.
A Stark won in the end.
Yes.
They all won in their own way, to be honest with you.
Very happy for the Stark family.
Very happy. That is very satisfying. If anybody is upset
satisfying.
about this,
I was going to totally use that word because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel with this finale. But I like knowing like where they're going, and I feel like I'm able to imagine their futures. It wasn't like tying neat little bows on everything, but I can just go to bed and like think about Arya and like what she's doing. You know, I can be like, okay,
what she's discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. Yeah.
You know,
but I mean, honestly, we were taught watching this to love the Starks, and the Starks won.
Yes.
So let's just remember that, people.
Yes. They lost a lot along the way, but they still
prevailed. Yes. So another scene I want to talk about is when Brienne is looking through the King's Guard book. Yep. It's like all of them, and then she gets to Jaime Lannister, and she looks so sad, and so she decides to finish his story. Yeah. And one of the last lines she writes about him is that it said, "Dies protecting his queen." Aww. She's not bitter about it. She knew. It was always about Cersei, you know?
And like he always felt like gypped because he was known as like the Kingslayer, and nobody ever knew that he did that to save all these people
from the Mad King.
Yeah. So his last thing is that he's a queen saver.
Yes.
Well, didn't really save her, but
he tried.
He tried.
He tried nonetheless.
Yes.
He's more than that.
That was really nice.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah. So then we see Tyrion is he goes and sits in his hand of the king chair, and he's like, it's funny because like gets up and he starts like
remember that
arranging the chairs, and and you know, just doing his usual. And then it's cool because then like the council comes in, and because we're like, who's gonna be part of the council at this point? And then you see like Sam come in and Bronn. I was a little surprised about that, but that was cool. And Brienne.
I'm glad he came back though, because if he didn't come back, I would have felt like we never got the end of that story.
No closure.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yes. So he's there. Of course he's there by Tyrion's side. That's really cool. I like that.
I love their friendship.
Yeah, that was really neat. And then Sam brings in this book called A Song of ice and fire.
Mm-hmm.
Fire and ice.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he helped the Archmaester write it. And then Tyrion like wants to know. He's like, wonder how I came across in this. He's like, good? No? Bad? No? And then Sam's like, well, he didn't really mention you. What? It's the best part.
Oh, poor Tyrion.
I know.
It's kind of like in the Battle of Blackwater where he got no credit.
Oh
it's
my
kind
gosh.
Of, yeah.
Always.
Yeah, Tyrion. We know.
Yeah, we know. And then, of course, Bran comes in and, you know, it's their first, like, meeting.
I loved
with
it.
him
It was kind of
being
nice.
The king.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Podrick's there. Hi, Pod.
Oh, yes.
Missed
Sir
you.
Podrick.
Sir Podrick.
I love
That's
that he's
right. That's right. So then, you know, they're discussing about who they're going to make their master of this and master of that. And then, like, before he leaves, they all stand up and they all say, long may he reign. And it's, like, a little awkward and, like, not very, like, in sync. And so he turns around and Tyrion's like, that'll improve.
Yeah, that was really good.
We'll get better at that. And Bren's like, I know. Doesn't seem like he's worried about it. So then we see Jon has arrived back at Castle Black.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Tormund. You see Tormund again. All these people that I was like, I wonder what's going to happen.
Well, because remember, I was thinking about that, and I remember Tormund said, well, he'll just go hang out at Castle Black until his people get better, and then he'll go back north. And he invited Jon to go with him, and Jon was like, I wish I could. You know I do. And he was like, right. So then he was there.
Aw, BFFs together again. And there's also a very sweet reunion with his direwolf ghost, which we were all feeling a little like unsettled about the way they parted before, but that was super cute to see that. And then they, very well done, the shots they show of the Starks. So, you know, there's Bran, he's the king, and then they show Arya walking across her ship, and she's getting ready to set sail, and then they also show Sansa walking through.
My gosh. I love that, with putting on her queen gear.
Yes.
She was awesome.
They were kneeling to her. They put the crown on her. Yes. She's the queen of the north. And I just got goosebumps right now. I'd say that's probably one of my favorite scenes of the last episode. Yes. And they're like, you know, Queen of the North. She did it. She prevailed. Oh my gosh. I know I said it before, but I'm so proud of her.
Oh, I know, me too.
I'm proud of that character, and that made me the happiest, honestly, because this was a very sad last episode, but that made me so happy. And then they showed Arya walking through the ship. She was walking through the Great Hall, and then they showed Jon walking through like the wildlings, and and it's funny because they're smiling at him and accepting him, and he's kind of like, hello, and it's like he got his spark back. Like,
well, that's where he felt like himself.
Totally.
And so I think, like, so was it like a ruse, though? He's not really going to go to the Night's Watch. He just gets to go. Because maybe there is nothing to guard.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's left of Castle Black?
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, then you see that last shot is he and the wildlings, Tormund, they're all leaving. Yeah. They ride off on a horse. Like, I think he's just going to go out and live in the wild with the wildlings. Yeah.
I mean, and they're still protecting, really. Like, if there is an enemy up there, he'll come back and tell them. I mean, so he's still upholding his duty if needed. Yes. I mean, it's obviously safe for them to go back out because the White Walkers are gone. But yeah, exactly. So, but I just, again, because I was still trying to process everything and like how it ended, but then I was like, look how happy Jon is. Look how happy Arya is. Look how happy Sansa is. Bran, you know, he doesn't care. He's neutral. But you know what was cute, though, about Bran? When he was like, has anyone seen Drogon? Oh. And they're still doing their counts. He's like, you know what? I'll work on that one. I can handle that. Warg into to find him. So cool. I keep imagining, like, so Drogon will come back and kind of be like his, like, surveillance. Like, he can kind of, like, fly over the whole 6 kingdoms and kind of see what's going on. That's so cool. Right? I love that. Well, we can say that because that's what I imagine is happening. That's fine and dandy. Can, like, see, like, that's how Bran's gonna look over his kingdom. I think Bran's got a good plan in play. I think everything's going to be just fine now with him. I can think the ruler. I feel like we can just tell our own stories now. Yeah, that's right. So I'm good. It is a bittersweet ending to one of the best television shows in history. Even if you're mad at it, it's still one of the best shows ever. I have to agree with you. I know, lots of times the last seasons of most TV shows are not great. True. But doesn't mean it ruins it for the whole series. So try to keep that in mind. Sorry, everyone. I'm trying to. It was just different. Well, I'm not mad or sad or whatever. It's just not what I expected. I think we should watch it again because we did rewatch everything. Yeah. Watch it again. I wonder. No, you're right. And in preparation for this review tonight, I watched this episode again. And I actually think you should all watch this episode. Because first, it's a shock.
and it hits you and you're like, what just happened? But watch it again and you'll feel more. You'll be more into it and you'll process it better and you'll be more like, I think, understanding. I hope so. So y'all can feel better about this. But that is the end of Game of Thrones. Oh, I know, it's kind of sad.
It is.
It's been really fun reviewing these with you. Thank you so much for watching. And their watch has ended. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.